Hello and welcome, my name is Piera. Today I'm here with award-winning author Jay Kristoff to talk about his new book, Lifelike. I hate the intro, it's always awkward.
Okay.
So if you could just like dance in the corner.
Intro music.
It's like ripping off a fucking band-aid. First of all, tell us about Lifelike, what inspired it, give us the gist.
It's a weird story. It started back in 2010 when I was a baby author and my first series was going out on submission. That's when your agent sends out your book to publishers in the hopes that they will buy it. The advice you'll get as a baby author is during that period of time you shouldn't just sit by your email clicking refresh and hoping the good news comes in. You should pretend it's not happening and write another book. So Lifelike was the book that I started writing during that baby author period, but back then it was a book set in post-revolutionary Russia, and it was kind of an overt Anastasia retelling, and there was going to be a robot Lenin, and Rasputin was going to be a lifelike, and it was going to be fucking awful. But I started working on that, and then my first series sold, so I shelved that idea and didn't really think about it for kind of 3 years, and then I came back to it, and in the space of those 3 years it had somehow become a story set in post-collapse United States as opposed to post-revolutionary Russia. I'm not entirely sure what those two things have in common, but the only thing that survived really, I mean, there's an Anastasia subtext in the story, but the name of the dog, because the dog in the original one was called Kaiser after Kaiser Wilhelm, who was the German head of state during World War I, and the name of the androids, Lifelikes. That was kind of the only thing that remained. So that was where it started, but it's inspired by all kinds of stuff. There's Pinocchio in there, there's Paradise Lost, there's Anastasia, there's Mad Max and Romeo and Juliet and all kinds of stuff.
That definitely picked up on the Anastasia one. I think it was like the first one. I was like, oh. And like I feel like the name maybe also.
Like the name, the surname, Monroe?
That also.
Sure. Well, Lainey Taylor, who was one of my beta readers, the amazing Lainey Taylor,
just casually,
didn't pick it up until her daughter was watching Anastasia in the background.
I mean, that kind of leads me on, like now that you've mentioned it, I forget what his name is. It's not Rasputin. You know the little bat in Anastasia?
I haven't actually seen Anastasia.
Oh, you monster.
No,
okay.
like I'm just a history nerd, so I know about the actual history, not the animated film.
Okay,
no.
well,
there's a bat?
There's a bat, yeah.
Right.
But it leads me into my next question, which is you have a knack for writing witty, smart-ass companion characters, like Mr. Kindly, like Cricket.
Okay.
And why does every badass heroine need a smarmy conscience on her shoulder? Do you use that character as like an outlet for things, or?
Yeah, I mean, in Lifelike, Cricket he's literally an analog for Jiminy Cricket from Pinocchio. He kind of serves as Eve's conscience. I tend to write reasonably serious main characters, and I find that having a snarky sidekick or some comedy relief helps elevate the book from just being a horrible, depressing mess of awfulness. You need something in there to lighten the mood, so that's kind of what characters like Mr. Kindly or Cricket or Lemon do.
That's my favorite thing about your books, just casually, because it's super important what I think.
Not the lesbians?
I am a fan of the lesbians.
Okay, sure. Yep.
Did anything in particular, you kind of mentioned it earlier, inspire you for the creation of Babel and the Lifelike characters? Like all their names are obviously like archangel references and that sort of stuff.
Yeah, so the background, Babel is basically inspired by Paradise Lost, and the rebellion of the Lifelikes against Nicholas Monrover is kind of modelled on the rebellion of Lucifer against God, and I was trying to draw some parallels between the two. So the male lifelikes are named after angels. Unfortunately, there aren't many female angel names in mythology, so I had to name the female lifelikes after more virtues like hope and mercy and whatnot. But Paradise Lost is a story about angels who are servitors created by God. A number of them rebel against God because God is showing more favour to his new creation, which is man, and Lucifer questions the right of that, and ultimately starts a rebellion against heaven and gets thrown down into hell. The Lifelike rebellion is modelled after that. Gabriel he's upset at a bad thing that happens, which I won't really talk about because it's spoilers, but he's also upset at the state of servitude that he and his fellow Lifelikes are born into.
Preacher, what's his deal? What inspired that kind of character? Where did you get that from?
Preacher is inspired by, there's a character called the Gunslinger in Stephen King's Dark Tower series. I also riffed a little bit on a character named Jesse in a really old vampire film called Near Dark. It's by Catherine Bigelow. The character in there called Jesse. who is played by Lance Henriksen, and I kind of modelled Preacher after that. But yeah, Preacher is kind of, it's the inexorable villain, the Terminator-style villain, the guy who just walks in a direction and you have to stop and you have to sleep, you have to eat, and he just keeps coming for you and eventually he catches you. I kind of like the idea of that unstoppable juggernaut-style villain. But you find out a little bit more about him and his motivations later on in book 2. Probably my second favourite character to write in the series, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Do you like get the accent going as well when you're writing? Do you
Like,
talk out
Do
loud?
I emote out loud? No.
Yeah.
I sit on my couch talking to myself in a Texan accent. No.
I mean, there are weird
It hasn't
things.
reached that point yet. I say yet.
Do you have any interesting behind-the-scenes stories of while you were writing this? Obviously, you don't speak out loud in character, which is super depressing to hear.
Yeah, no.
Costumes or anything? You
No,
don't really
no-
get into
no
plot,
cosplay.
as you say.
I had a really valuable lesson that I learned. So I was working on this while I was on holiday, and I was carrying around the entire book on a USB drive, which I busted. I jumped on the bed, not like nothing weird. I just jumped on the bed. I don't know why. And the USB drive was plugged into the side of the computer, and it just went crack.
Jumping on the bed, like.
No, as in like I flopped
Oh, 'cause
onto
like
the
you're a
bed. I
tall
wasn't
person,
bouncing
and
on
like
the bed.
how
No,
big is
that'd have
this
to be a really
room?
high ceiling. No, no.
Yeah, solid.
But yeah, it bent it in half, and everything I had been working on while I was on holiday got lost. I took it to like 3 different tech specialists to recover the data on it, and they just couldn't do it. So
How long
I
did you
lost.
cry for?
It was pretty upsetting. I didn't cry. I swore, and
Yeah.
it could have been the best thing I ever wrote,
That's
ever.
pretty fucking depressing.
And now it's gone.
Super depressing.
Fucking bad.
Out of all of your characters, out of all of the books you've written, which, like either in each book or like from a general consensus, which characters are you most like, or do you have like the most of you in? Which characters are you inside?
I mean, I'm inside all of them.
Yeah.
The thing is, if you ask this question about an author who is currently promoting a book,
Yeah.
they are going to answer with a character from the book
Yeah.
that they are currently promoting. No one's going to fucking say, well, actually, my best work was 10 years ago and I love this character. From Life, like, the character that I like writing most is Lemon. More of me and her than any other character, I think. She's kind of me channeling my inner 15-year-old girl.
Bright red hair.
With bright red hair and freckles.
Looks
Like, I
super
kind of
cute
have
as
freckles. Other characters, Aiden is obviously a big one. That was a character that I used to kind of explore some of the questions that keep me up at kind of 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. Like,
Some dark questions.
yeah, like the nature of morality and the nature of existence. What is it to be human? Why are we here? Kind of big question stuff. And it's actually kind of scary how many people resonate with that character.
Oh,
because
yeah.
it's an awful,
100%.
murderous, amoral,
Yeah, but all your good
artificial
characters are,
intelligence.
though.
But are they all bad?
Oh, okay, look, all my favourite ones are.
I guess they are. Really?
You use a lot of like slang and stuff through your book. Like you go ahead and like basically create your own languages. What's up with that?
It's just a real quick shortcut to let the reader know that they're in a new world. If people speak differently, the readers will very quickly realise that the world that they are reading is not the world that they live in. So it's just a shortcut to established place, I guess.
Do you have a favourite slang word out of all the books you've used? Or like one that you use like in real life?
I kind of like femme as slang for girl or girlfriend. I also like bestest as, you know, your best friend in the world is your bestest. I don't know if I use it in real life though. I think it'd be pretty weird if I went around in real life using the slang words that I made up in my book.
That would be like a good video.
Maybe.
Jay Kristoff speaks slang for a whole day.
Jay Kristoff goes quietly insane. Yeah, no.
What would Eve, Lemon, Cricket, Preacher, and Zeke's catchphrases be if they all had like a thing that they said? Like my favorite already is like Lemon's, like you can call me daddy. It's like my favorite.
You can call me daddy,
Yeah.
or I'm too pretty to sweat would be Lemons. These would probably be stronger together forever, which is kind of like the first rule in the scrap that she lives in. Preacher would be he kind of grunts,
Grunts a lot.
spits, he chews tobacco.
Yum.
There's a scene where he's talking to a stripper and he tells the stripper asks if his dogs bite, and he replies, "They don't bite. That's my job."
Kinky and gross all at the same time.
Yeah, I don't know if I meant it to be kinky, but I guess it is.
Really?
Now that I
That's
say
what
it
you
out
went
loud.
with? It's not what you were going for?
Ezekiel would be "All I do for you," which is like a Bryan Adams lyric almost-ish. But he's like, the relationship between Eve and Ezekiel is not really meant to be healthy. Like, one of the comps that we use in the book is Romeo and Juliet, and I don't say that because this is some great starstruck romance. Like the romance in Romeo and Juliet is actually a fucking car wreck. And Romeo and Juliet are more in love with the idea of being in love than they actually love each other. They don't even fucking know each other. They've seen each other for a couple of hours. Zeke's feelings for Eve are kind of like that, because lifelikes are fully formed adult bodies, but mentally they're only a couple of months old when they get brought online and start having to deal with the world. He kind of imprints on Eve, and it's an obsessive compulsive kind of love. It's not a healthy one. And that same kind of love, which is between Gabriel and Grace, kind of leads to the downfall of everything. Like that relationship is at the core of the entire collapse and the whole world going to shit. So yeah, obsessive
love is bad.
Compulsive possessive love is not, well, I mean, it's not love, but it's not healthy, I guess, is the message that maybe you can take from this book.
Gravy, baby. All right. That was the interview. Thank you for letting me shoot the shit for a bit.
All right.
Enjoyable.
Thanks for having me.
All right. See you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.